Okay, Matthew, I think you should be able to hear me.
Yes, I'm hearing you well in Zoom.
Great. Okay, terrific. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Sam, you're ready? Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm going to call to order our regular Board of Supervisors meeting for February 24th, 2026. And we're going to start with a moment of silence, and I'll turn it over to Supervisor Owen.
We had a huge loss to the Middletown community on January 22nd. Austin Frederick Pullman, age 43, of Middletown, California, passed away on January 22nd, 2026, in a tragic automobile accident while working in Glasgow, Montana. Born on May 30th, 1982, in Carson City, Nevada, to Brian and Gail Pullman. Austin was raised in Middletown, California, where his family has long been established residents. Standing at 6'5", he made a significant impact on the Middletown sports program, excelling in both football and basketball. He graduated from Middletown High School in June 2000. And that very same year, Austin began his career at the Geysers, the world's largest geothermal field. He initially joined Calpine Corporation and later transitioned to the Northern California Power Agency, NCPA, where he earned widespread respect for his strong work ethic, reliability, and dedication. In 2009, Austin married Lindsay Corsett, and together they built a loving and devoted family life. Austin will be survived by his beloved wife, Lindsay, and their 3 sons, Wyatt, age 16, Blake, 13, and Hank, age 12. His parents, Brian and Gail Pullman, his brother and sister-in-law, Drew and Audrey Pullman, and Jake and Andrea Pullman, and his sister Larissa Pullman and her husband, Kevin Landrum, his parents-in-law, Rich and Lisa Corsett, and numerous nieces, nephews, cousins, and extended family. Approximately 1 year ago, Austin relocated his family to Morristown, Tennessee. He was overseeing a hydraulic plant operations at Fort Peck, Montana at the time of the accident. Known for his infectious laugh, warm demeanor, and generous spirit, Austin will be deeply missed by his family, friends, and colleagues. A celebration of life will be held this Saturday, February 28th, at 11 a.m. at the Maryland Tallman Gym in Middletown.
Thank you, Supervisor Hahn. And go ahead, Supervisor Crandall.
Yes, I have a moment of silence for Sophia Marie Cage, who passed away on February 17, 2026. She was born on January 18, 1989. She leaves behind her father, Ed Cage, her brother, Martin Duncan, and Stephen Cage, and numerous nieces and nephews. And she also leaves behind her grandmother, Bernadine Tripp. Lost way too young, and so we offer our condolences to the family.
Thank you, Supervisor Crandall. Thank you. Would the FFA please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Again? I pledge Thank you. Do we have any extra items not posted on the agenda today?
Chair, there are none.
Could I
Supervisor Crandall.
Yes, I just wanted to ask Chair, even if there was an extra item on the agenda, Lloyd, I just wanted to see possibly, Mr. Chair, if you would explain that we possibly couldn't even pass anything anyhow or move something forward without
Yes.
having a full quorum. I mean, not a full quorum, but without having 5 members.
Thank you. And County Council, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, under the Government Code sections relate to the Brown Act provisions, in order for an item to be taken up as an extra item to the agenda, it would need a 4/5 vote from your vote, from your board. So, with 3, that would not satisfy that requirement.
Thank you. Anything further, Supervisor?
That's all I
Was
wanted to
that
make
on
sure.
the rent that you were asking?
I bring that up because there was first there was some recommendations and some interest in bringing something forward today as an extra item. And then also with that item being what it would have been some sort of moratorium or ordinance to to inclinate an urgency ordinance, which would
Yes.
still need a 4/5 either way. And so because we don't have even 4, that wouldn't be amenable. So I just wanted to ensure that that was noted.
I
Thank you.
had actually asked the same thing as well.
Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. And it's my understanding that staff has a request to pull items 5.5 and 5.6 to a future date. Do supervisors have any other consent agenda items to pull? Other than 5.5 and 5.6? Not hearing any. Be ready for, any member of the public have any comment or wish to pull any consent agenda items? No hands online, not seeing any in the room. Be ready for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to a motion to approve items 5.1 through 5.4 and 5.7 through 5.9.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries 3-0. Next, I'm going to move on to our timed items, and we'll start with our 9:02 item, which is public comment. First, I know we have a lot of folks here today. I'd like to see a show of hands on how many people in the room expect to or plan to make public comment today. So I'm counting about 8 in the room. Johanna, any online for the same question? So that's about 10? Okay. 2? No, I mean 10 total. Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and start our public comment, and we'll start first today online. And if you could state your name for the record, we'll unmute you and you'll have 3 minutes. iPhone 10, go ahead.
Skylar Lewa, Pillsbury Family Farms. On a normal day, this board should have reviewed the long-awaited cannabis ordinance that has to be presented by January. We are now nearing March, and the public has finally received legal notice, but there is no draft available for comments to be made in advance, similar to the process used by the California Department of Cannabis Control. Instead, on a normal day, what has been prioritized is a fiscal presentation designed to walk you through why staff and services must be cut. To the public, that is not leadership, but on a normal day, it's kicking the can down the road and forcing the public to carry the weight later. Since August 12th of 2022, cannabis farmers in this county have been governed not by clear law, but by fear and inconsistency and informal rules created on the fly. There is no adopted ordinance clearly defining conditions of approval, yet operators are pressured to comply with directives that shift depending on who is asking and when. I have looked into another permitted cultivation site that I have considered purchasing, and while conditions are site-specific, the core requirements across farms should not contradict one another, but yet in Lake County they do. The contradiction is not incidental, and it is the result of the department that is allowed to operate without guardrails. And as I said before, my farm's been told to seek out the head sheriff's department to reverse a background disqualification during relocation proceedings, despite the fact that no process is non-existent in the County of Lake's zoning ordinance or the current or proposed cannabis ordinance. When the government invents processes that are not written into law, that is not flexibility. It is power without accountability. This same department leadership has disclosed protected personal information to the public proceedings in direct conflict with state and federal privacy laws. And when the law is enforced on people but ignored by those in power, what you are left with is not governance, it is dominance. Some of you often speak about transparency and accountability, and those values do not start with social media posts. They start inside this building. And whether this board is willing to confront misconduct, mismanagement, and bad faith governance within its own department. You can ask why the cannabis is not growing in Lake County. The answer is not market conditions, not farmers, and not regulations alone. It is the message that is being sent when equity funds are being mismanaged, when rules are selectively enforced, and when those who speak up are treated as problems instead of constituents. People with capital pay attention to how power is exercised. And right now, County of Lake is signaling that mismanagement is tolerated, inconsistency is normalized, and accountability is optional. If this board truly believes in growth, equity, and fairness, then stop delaying the hard conversations. Stop protecting dysfunction. Hold leadership accountable. It is time for you to prove to your constituents through action, not words, that no one in this county is above the law. Muleham.
Thank you. Next online. Online, we'll unmute you. Go ahead and state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Maya? Maya, are you there?
Do you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Maya.
Okay, hi. Good morning. My name is Maya Lynn, and I'm a resident of Lake County. I'm speaking to urge you to adopt a rent stabilization ordinance and to implement a retroactive moratorium to January 1st, 2026 for mobile home parks in Lake County, because too many residents are already relying on their family members just to afford their space rent. Predatory home park owners are abusing its mobile home owners. Mobile homes that we all know are not mobile. Mobile home owners are in a uniquely vulnerable position. We own our homes, but we rent the land beneath them. When space rents increase sharply, we cannot simply relocate. That's unfeasible. That leaves residents with very few options when rents rise beyond what their fixed incomes can support. Many people living in our mobile home parks are seniors, disabled residents, and working families waiting on you in the hospital and in the restaurants. They live on Social Security disability benefits or modest income wages. Aging members of our society become invisible to most folks, whether we are standing right beside you in the grocery store or standing right in front of you, staring you in the face and asking you for help. We feel unseen and unheard and dismissed. When rent increases by hundreds of dollars a month, when housing abuse becomes apparent, and many are having to turn to their children, their grandchildren, their siblings across the country, asking them for help to cover their rent. Families who are struggling with their own mortgages, groceries, gas, and childcare, stretching their budgets even further to prevent their loved ones from losing their homes. This isn't sustainable living. It creates financial strain across generations. We should not be forcing families into crisis mode just to keep someone housed in a home they already own and to line the pockets of corporate executives. Rent or mobile home, mom and pop pockets. Take care of your people. Rent stabilization for mobile home parks would not eliminate rent increases. It would simply set reasonable, predictable limits, as you know, so that families can plan ahead. It would protect vulnerable homeowners while still allowing park owners a fair return. Mobile home parks are one of the last forms of nationally affordable housing in your county. Without reasonable protections, we risk destabilizing entire families, not just individual residents. I respectfully ask you to adopt a rent stabilization ordinance and to implement a moratorium on increases retroactive to January 1, 2026. Protect vulnerable families, protect citizens, seniors, and preserve affordable housing in your community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Any further comment online? No more hands online. We're going to go ahead and move to the room. If the first person could come up to the mic, please, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
I would like to hand these to you first, please. There's one for each one of you. My name is Roseanne Domingo. I'm the executive board that represents Lake County IHSS caregivers. And those are for the record and on the record, please. Good morning, board. On behalf of SEIU Local 2015 and the IHSS providers we represent in Lake County, we are writing to respectfully clarify statements made by Rachel Dillard during the recent Department of Social Service presentation regarding IHSS wage funding and the state's role in approving wage increases under the statutory 10% option. During the presentation, it was suggested that pursuing wage increases under the 10% option carries significant risk because there is no guarantee that the California Department of Social Services would approve such an agreement. While it is accurate the CDSS approval is required, we believe this characterization is misleading and does not reflect how the process functions in practice. Under statute, a long-standing statewide implementation, CDSS review of IHSS wage and benefit agreements is administrative in nature. When a county negotiates a wage increase through a valid memorandum of understanding, MOU, remains within the statutory parameters of the 10% option and certifies its required share of funding, CDSS approval has historically been granted. To our knowledge, there are no documented examples of complaints that IHSS wage agreements negotiated under the 10% option being denied state participation. This understanding is reflected in statewide guidance and analysis produced by county and IHSS public authority stakeholders. A September 2023 statewide brief on IHSS wages and collective bargaining notes that while CDSS approval is required, the state has not denied compliant rate increases negotiated under the existing statutory authority. I'm going to let Vicki finish the letter from right here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Vicki Osborne, IHSS. More recently, on April 25th, statewide IHSS collective bargaining reported documents that the 10% option continues to be defined. Regularly used statutory tools with numerous counties currently utilizing it to secure state participation in local negotiation wages and benefit increases. 2. This material reflects a consistent statewide practice in which approval is consignment on compliance with the statutory requirements, not dictionary rejection of negotiation agreements. Several nearby counties have utilized the 10% option, including Napa, Sonoma, Yolo, Mendocino, Humboldt, Trinity, and Del Norte. For the board's reference, we are attaching a separate document that outlines how the 10% option would apply specifically in Lake County, including irrelevant statutory parameters and funding considerations. This attachment is intended to provide additional details without duplicating information already discussed. We appreciate your time and consideration and remain available to answer questions or provide further clarifications. Sincerely, IHSS workers, caregivers, and SEIU 2015.
Thank you. Next in the room for public comment.
Hello, my name is Hillary Mosier. I have come here today from Humboldt County. I had a blowout on Highway 20. I almost drove into the lake from a Google Maps misdirection and got soaked in the rain this morning. All to come here to talk with you. I am the volunteer regional manager for the Golden State Manufactured Homeowners League. It's a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to developing and protecting the rights of those living in mobile home parks. I am considered the statewide expert on rent stabilization ordinances. Did you know that Lake County has 150 mobile home parks? That is more per capita than any other county in the state. Mobile homes represent at least 25% of all affordable housing in this county. You are under a state mandate to increase affordable housing. But if for every 1 unit you build, 50 mobile homes, the rents increase, you've not met your mandate, you are sinking below it. I have information about other communities enacting a temporary moratorium on fee increases in parks here for you. I also have an analysis of your existing draft ordinance. It has big problems. I have emailed all of you with a suggested rent stabilization ordinance that has no loopholes and follows all state statutes. We are asking that you please place this important issue on your upcoming board meeting, the next one, to avoid further erosion. Some of it's already going to take place on March 1st. An illegal pass-through is going to cause hundreds of people to have to pay $60 more on their rent for the next 10 years. We are mobilizing to try to get attorneys to handle this illegal pass-through, but that could take years. You have the power and the ability, and you've been elected to help protect your constituents, not to protect multi-billionaire corporations that are they're affecting your local economy. They're not investing in the local community. They're not members of your Chamber of Commerce. They're not members of any of your service organizations. They're not donating to any of the causes that exist in Lake County. They take the money and run. It's your responsibility, please, to put this important issue on the agenda and take action now, as over 100 other communities in the state of California have done, to protect your residents, your low-income residents, and preserve this important source of affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have these for the county clerk to hand out. 2 sets of packets. Thank you. And there's one for you, a copy for you as well.
Go ahead.
Rachel Dillman Parsons, Lake County Social Services Director. I appreciate the clarifications from IHSS and SEIU today. I will say we have issued last best final, and we are currently still in negotiations and are simply awaiting a response from SEIU to our last best final. And we did assess the 10% option. It's simply unaffordable. So whether or not CDSS would approve it is somewhat irrelevant. That is pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next in the room.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Armanino, and my husband and I have lived in Sterling Shores Senior
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
Mobile Home Park. Our park is owned and operated by a multi-million-dollar nonprofit corporation known as Caritas, and they currently own 32 parks throughout California and Oregon. On January 1, Caritas notified us residents that they were imposing pass-through fees to the tune of over $450,000. These fees are to be paid by 67 households beginning on March 1 and amortized over 10 years. This means $60 more each month per household. This alone is a 7% increase per household, but together with the 5% increase that they imposed on October 1st, 2025, this amounts to 12% increase in housing costs in just 6 months. In the last month, I have written the board 3 or 4 times describing the hardship this is going to bear on many of the residents who live solely on Social Security, and suggesting that we needed to add this matter to today's agenda for the purpose of considering a retroactive moratorium on new fees until you can adopt an RSO. Obviously, the issue didn't make it to the agenda, and I find it appalling that not one of you supervisors saw the importance to protect your constituents. The timing of this money grab by Caritas was prompted because they found out the board was working on a draft of an RSO in 2025, so their attorneys came up with this money-grabbing scheme. These fees are for alleged capital charges during 2021 through 2025, which were already paid by the rents we paid. In my opinion, mobile home living is the last frontier of affordable housing that Lake County has to offer its citizens. We see this eroding away before our very eyes, and we aren't seeing a response by the board that shows concern or compassion. Also, consider the economic impact to Lake County. Caritas will take this money and spend it anywhere but Lake County. Without a temporary moratorium, there currently is no protection afforded to mobile home owners from being ripped off by park owners. Finally, I just want to remind you that you hold your positions because of us. We've elected you to office, and you work for us. It is your job to protect mobile home owners, whether they are seniors or young, struggling families, and I implore you to do the right thing and impose a retroactive temporary moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I made it. 3 seconds.
Joanna, sorry to get you to stand up. You can enter that into a public record.
Good morning, Board. Tom Lasik. This is a continuation of a public comment that I made earlier this month about red flags. First, I want to thank Jennifer Harrington from the Auditor's Department for providing this first report on the first page. This is, if you recall, what's in Schedules 2, 3, and 4 of the budget really wasn't useful, but this one actually is useful. As you can see, it does have a starting balance. It does have an ending balance. It tells you where your money's coming from. And at a very high executive level, tells you where the money's going to, excuse me. The two things I'd like to point out that are red flags for additional scrutiny is that the fund lost over $500,000. And that really needs to be looked at further. But what I really want to draw your attention to is the transfer out of over $3 million in what is called negative revenue. Negative revenue automatically deserves additional scrutiny. If you go to the next page, this is an actual breakdown on the first table of that negative revenue in a summary. And please note that unlike some of the presentations that the board gets from departments, these numbers actually match to the penny to the initial report and also to the detail that's provided in the subsequent pages. The items in green are okay. There's no real issue, but the items in yellow, those are red flags. First of all, as you can see, just like with the Building and Safety Reserve, CDD was also pulling money for code enforcement and planning out of the Cannabis Reserve. So it's clearly being subsidized. The other thing is that the 30-30-30-10 guideline has pretty much been thrown out the window. CDD took $1 million of the $3 million, and some of that was for copter, but most of it was not. The other thing is there's potential double, potential triple dipping that needs to be looked into. They're taking money out for salary, but then also going back and charging for copter in the case of code enforcement. They're taking money out of salary for CDD, but then turning around and charging for cannabis services. So those are clearly of concern. I can't go through all of these, but there's clearly several other red flags. You can also see in the last table on that page what was in the presentations that were given that year as to what was going to be spent. CDD took out 41% more than what they said they would do, even though the numbers were much less. This thing screams for an independent audit. Right now you have the group that caused the problem and the group that allowed the problem to happen to tell you and put them in charge of what went wrong and what to do about it. That's like putting the drunk driver that caused the accident in charge of the investigation and the accident report. It's clearly conflicted. You're seeing that in the month after month, the problem seems to be worse than what was the month before. You're not getting straight answers. There's more, but we can do better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next in the room.
I brought my trusty wife with me. Hi, I'm Stephen Zerker, and this is my wife, Melody Zerker, and we both live in Sterling Shores, the mobile home park. Good morning to you. I was a civil servant for 30 years, a long time ago. I have a pension, and we have some Social Security. I know you must have considered the recommendation of the ad hoc committee concerning placing the moratorium on pass-through fees on the agenda today. But it didn't happen. So now we will have to be required to start paying these fees on March 1st. $60 for our park. There's another park that's $350 increase. I forget the name of it. I want to remind you that the Consumer Price Index for 2025 was 2.7%. That's the approximate increase of our fixed incomes, approximately, for the year. The rent increase plus the new pass-through fees come out to 13% for our park. Who knows what the other parks are? We will again see a rent increase in October of this year on top of that. Will there also be new pass-through fees coming up in the future that we don't know about? This is open-ended. Melody and I are asking you to close the loophole on this for us, for all the seniors. Please place this issue of a moratorium retroactive to January 1st on your next meeting agenda, as well as the RSO that would protect us, it would help us, your constituents. And God bless you, all of you, in your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further public comment? You folks have already spoke, so we're going to have to not have you speak right now. Is there anyone else in the room?
Hello, Supervisors. Thank you. My name is Ted McLeod. I'm actually a licensed real estate broker here in Lake County. I actually am from Sterling Shores Estates. First of all, I'd just like to say transparency is everything in my business. It has been for the past 40 years that I've been in the business. We requested from Sterling Shores and from the company that runs our how do I? Caritas. I can never pronounce it. I'm sorry. But anyway, so we asked for transparency. We wanted to see profit and loss. They are an organization that is working for us. Not for profit. That's all we did was ask for it. And we asked for it actually broken down from our park. No, they gave us their entire conglomerate of businesses that they run, and we were not able to even figure what's going on at our site. But all we're asking for is transparency. We ask from you transparency as well. Are any of the supervisors involved in Caritas? Are they involved in any of these, which we call cash cow in the businesses, which are all mobile home parks? And it is in this area going on as well. But anyway, I've just asked for transparency from everybody, and I think everybody here wishes that we all had transparency. And if we could get that, that would be fantastic. Also, there was one more issue. I moved in last year into my mobile home. And it's a wonderful place. I got to tell you, this is a great county. It's a great place to live. I love it here. But why am I being assessed from 2001 or 2002 when I just moved in at the beginning of the year? So they're not even explaining that to us. And I don't know how many people are in the same boat as I am. And I'm not complaining. I don't mind being in the same boat as everybody. Believe me, everybody is so sweet and nice to us. But gosh, that should be transparent, right? And they should have done their figuring a little different, don't you think? Instead of just making it a swipe across the board. I don't know. I've been in the business a long time, and we never have been able to do that. But anyway, I thank you for your time. I just wanted to bring up a couple things. Didn't have anything in writing to give you, but there are a lot of things a lot of questions that we're looking at, and transparency is everything to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room?
Good morning. I'm Jill Combs, Sterling Shores, and building on what was already said, I wanted to bring it to the attention of the supervisors that we have represented here multiple manufactured home park residents that came out in the rain with mobility issues and other challenges because it's so very important. They wanted to impress on you how important this is. If we can't, we need the moratorium, we need the RSO, thank you. And, I don't want to, they're shy, I don't want them to need to stand up and speak, but from their hearts, they're here to demonstrate that this is unacceptable, this is life-altering for us that have spent so many years being part of this community. And we really want to impress upon you that this is just going to be getting worse. And if it may become a burden to the county, because the next step for many of us who don't have relatives to lean on for extra money is homelessness. And then that becomes a challenge to the community. And it's a sad challenge to the community. So speaking from the heart and speaking for everyone here that came out in the rain, please get us on the agenda, please. Let's get that moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, do you want to speak?
Yeah, John Martin from Lake Village Estates, Clear Lake Oaks. And senior citizens' lives matter. And it's about time you guys get off your butts and do something about it. I mean, these billionaires are ruining our lives. And we need it stopped. This greed, it's total greed. And we need to help. And you're the ones that can help us. So that's all I got to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
How's that? So, and I had a lot of things I thought I wanted to say. It looks like.
Can you state your name, sir, please?
Pardon me?
Your name, sir,
Oh,
please.
sorry. My name is Richard Schmidt. I did have that wrote down. I've been a resident of this county for most of my life. I'm a Lake County Poet Laureate Emeritus. I've taught writing classes in each of the 5 districts of our county. One of the things I've taught in those classes has been, if the story doesn't come to you, back off, take a break, think about what you're trying to say, look it over, give yourself some time to think it through. That's all I'm asking from you. Declare a moratorium before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Not seeing any, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment, bring it back to the board. And thank you for all of your comments today. They are noted, but we're going to move on to our 903 6.2 item, Pet of the Week.
Good morning. I'm Officer Pelayo with Lake County Animal Control, and today we have Ryder with us. He's about a 1-year-old, we're guessing a shepherd or a husky and lab mix. He is very friendly. We've had him for about 2 months, and he is still available for free if somebody is interested in adopting him. If you guys would like to come take a look at him or any other animals at our shelter, you guys could come down to 4949 Hellbush Drive in Lakeport, or give us a call at 707-263-0278. And again, this is Ryder, about a 1-year-old husky lab mix, and he's still free if anybody is interested. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in today. Appreciate it. Any member of the public have any comment on our Pet of the Week? None online? Okay.
We need a break.
We take a 5-minute break. We have some technical difficulties. I'm going to call our meeting back to order, and we're going to move on to our 6.3, 905 item, which is presentation of proclamation recognizing the week of February 21st through 28th, 2026 as National Future Farmers of America Week. And Supervisor Owen is going to handle this. And anyone here for the proclamation, please come up here with Supervisor Owen.
You guys will come up here and you can kind of get in rows.
Yeah, Lower Lake on the first row, Upper Lake on the top row. Over here. Upper side.
Upper Lake. That works out good.
Yeah. You can keep coming this way. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys are good. I'm an Upper Lake alumni, so I'm cheering for you guys. I know what's up.
What's that? Yeah, I'm good.
You'll be all right.
Come over here, guys. We'll squish in. They want to get you guys all in one place. Here, just clump up here.
Rebecca.
Sneak right past you.
Okay.
We wanted to have them stay up here, but just stay up here where we have you guys.
Okay, but do they need to move down a
And
little
then
bit?
they squish over. We do this every time. Scoot over, guys. One group picture. Yeah, there we go. Squeeze like you like each other. Come on, upper lip, or lower lip, get behind.
Awful. What are you talking about? Here, can everybody see? Got it? Okay.
Everybody look in the middle.
I guess I better put my glasses on. Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California, proclamation recognizing the week of February 21st through the 28th, 2026 as National Future Farmers of America Week. Whereas Future Farmers of America, FFA, is a dynamic youth organization that changes lives and prepares members for premier leadership, personal growth, career success through agriculture education. And whereas FFA develops members' potential and helps them discover their talents through hands-on experience, which gives members the tools to achieve real-world success. And whereas members are future farmer clinic chemists, veterinarians, government officials, entrepreneurs, bankers, international business leaders, and teachers, and among other fields. And whereas the FFA has 1,042,245 student members in 9,407 chapters in all 50 states, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and the United States Virgin Islands. And whereas more than 13,000 FFA advisors and agriculture education teachers deliver an integrated model of agriculture education, providing students with an innovative and cutting-edge education. And whereas FFA members develop the necessary career readiness skills to continue their education in college or to enter the workforce immediately. And whereas Lake County FFA chapters, Upper Lake FFA, Kelseyville FFA, Lower Lake FFA, and Middletown FFA play a vital role in connecting agriculture education to a local community by fostering partnerships and local producers, participating in civic and service activities, and strengthening the future of Lake County agriculture economy. And whereas FFA members exemplify the motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve. By embracing challenges and working toward meaningful conversations and educational efforts. Now, therefore, to be it resolved, the Lake County Board of Supervisors recognizes the important role of the national FFA organization in developing the next generation of globally conscious leaders who will change the world, and designate the week of February 21st through the 28th, 2026 as National Future Farmers of America Week, passed and adopted this 24th day of February 2026 for the chair to sign. Who do I give this to?
Awesome. So thank you guys. It's my pleasure to bring all 4 of our Lake County FFA chapters here. So we have students from Upper Lake FFA, Lower Lake FFA, Middletown FFA, and Kelseyville FFA here present with us today. I'm Rebecca Harper, the Executive Director for Lake County Farm Bureau. Our Membership and Outreach Coordinator, Serena, is also here. Serena and I were both our chapter FFA presidents at one time and served on a Mendo Lake section officer team with each other. So with that being said, I would like to turn it over to the students to introduce themselves and share about FFA if they would like to. We'll start over here on this end. Frederick, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello everybody, my name is Frederick Eason. I'm from Lower Lake FFA, and I serve as the current president for our chapter. I'm so excited to welcome you guys to the National FFA Week. I know that for our chapter, we are doing a lot of fun activities this week. Welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Katrina Onate, and I currently serve as Lower Lake's treasurer.
Hello. Hello guys, my name is Josie Cruz, and currently I'm serving as the reporter at Lower Lake High School.
I'm Lucero Gomez, and I'm currently serving as the secretary for the Lower Lake FFA chapter.
Hello everybody, I'm Evelyn Sosa. I am an officer at large at Lower Lake FFA, and I'm just super grateful to be part of FFA because I feel it's a really unique opportunity to express yourself, and it gives you the opportunity to do things you wouldn't do in any other organization.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Williams. I am currently Lower Lakes FFA Sentinel. Being a part of FFA has been a wonderful experience. I get to learn a lot about agriculture and grow a fondness of farmers and understand how it works raising an animal and how much the process is. And yeah.
Okay. My name is Zach Bleckman. I serve as Kelseyville FFA's chapter president and the Mendo Lake section secretary. It's been great kind of experiencing everything that FFA is, with everything from leadership to farming and raising animals and everything. It's been truly wonderful.
Hi, my name is Cassidy Turner, and I am the current Kelseyville FFA historian.
Hi, my name is Alina Aguilar. I serve as Kelseyville FFA's secretary. I am also involved in speaking competitions for FFA.
Hi, I'm Cecilia Knight. I serve as Kelseyville FFA's vice president.
Hi, I'm Trinity Wood, and I am currently on the Best Informed Green Hand team.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Sheffer. I am also a member of our Best Informed Green Hand for Middletown, as that is what has brought us here today.
Hi, my name is Colby Medina. I'm currently serving as Kelseyville's parliamentarian.
Hi, my name is Kayla Rossetti. I am Middletown FFA's Vice President and the Mendel Lake Section Reporter.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chesney Henry. I am Middletown FFA's president, and I am also on the career development team of Farm Power. FFA is an organization that produces kids that can really work on their leadership skills and speaking skills, and it's a very good way to get out there. Hi, I'm Camila Martin, and I serve as our Upper Lake FFA Vice President. And for this week, for FFA FFA Week, we're doing Spirit Days where kids dress up, and we're doing lunch games. But not only has our Upper Lake chapter been able to do that, but also it has taught our chapter members an abundance of skills, ranging from learning parliamentary procedure to managing money to humanely raising livestock. It has taught us many other skills such as time management, organization, and more. Our time in FFA has become greater than being in an organization. Rather, it has become a family. At Upper Lake High School, all students are welcomed into their program regardless of their background in ag. In other words, we welcome all students to be part of our FFA family, and their experience prepares them for college and career, whether they choose a career in ag or not. Our administration and teachers support our program and expect us as FFA chapter leaders to make sure every one of our members to feel welcomed and supported. Thank you.
I'm Destiny Caballero, and I serve as Upper Lake FFA's historian.
I'm Riley Zimmershed, and I serve as our Upper Lake FFA secretary.
I'm Magdalena Garcia, and I serve as Upper Lake FFA's reporter.
My name is Sophia Cruz, and I serve as the Upper Lake chapter's president.
I'm Aubriana Suzor, and I serve as Upper Lake's treasurer.
So thank you guys for helping us honor our students and all of the work that FFA does within our communities. We are really lucky here in Lake County to have 4 extremely active and successful FFA chapters, and we hope that you'll join us this week as we celebrate National FFA Week. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from board members? Go ahead, Supervisor Crandall.
Yes, thank you all for doing the work you do. Each year we conduct this proclamation and this week, and just see so much good work that comes out of what you do, and then just to see a lot of the kids that do FFA when they grow into college and do all of this other life challenges, they always are successful. So I like seeing you all be part of this. I heard someone say they're a parliamentarian. That's an important role there. At times, in boards and different town halls that we have, it's a very important job. People don't really think about it. So I just like saying that every now and again. But anyhow, thanks again, and keep doing the good work you're doing.
And thank you for coming in. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Not seeing any, none online? No hands. We'll go ahead and close that and bring it back to the board. Thank you, Supervisor Owen, for handling that. And we're going to move on to our 6.4915 item, which is consideration of a request to close health services offices all day on April 9th, 2026, August 13th, 2026, and October 15th, 2026 for essential all-staff training. And we have our Deputy Director, Lisa Farraco, here from Health Services, who will present this item. You're welcome to come up here, Lisa, unless you're more comfortable there.
Oh, no, I'm going to be nervous the whole way through, so.
Okay.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
My name is Lisa Farraco. I'm Deputy Health Services Director and former Future Farmer of America. Great program. Okay, so good morning, board. I'm here this morning to request approval to continue our practice of 3 annual closures for our all-staff training at the Health Services Department. These closures are standard for health departments across the United States to ensure that we can train all of our staff at the same time, make sure they're all getting the same training, the compliance training that's required in our department. And it allows us to train our staff not just with PowerPoint presentations and videos, you know, that are the standard training for a lot of these required trainings. We have our HIPAA compliance officer actually does the HIPAA compliance training. Our disease interventionist does the, I'm sorry, I've forgotten the actual name of the training itself. The infection prevention, bloodborne, and respiratory pathogen training. So we're able to provide really high-level training to our staff with professional staff at one time. It's interactive. It's all at the same time. It really affords us an opportunity to come together to discuss in-depth topics that are specific to our staff and our department. And we would like to continue this practice moving forward.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from supervisors? No, my only comment or question would be, I'm assuming that once, if this is approved, then you would start, or there would be some kind of public notice so the public would know well in advance that they're not going to be able to come in, get permits, or
Absolutely.
conduct any business? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. We post our office closures a week in advance. We also post our closures on social media. We also reach out to our partners, the hospitals, the mortuary, to make sure that they know we're going to have a closure and there won't be anybody on site to assist them. Our management staff and our director are all available on call if needed. And if there was a situation where somebody absolutely needed to get into the office to do something, we could accommodate that.
Okay, great. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item in the room? Not seeing any hands online? No hands online. I'll bring it back to the board for any further comments or action.
I'd like to offer the approval to close the health services offices all day on April 9th, August 13th, October 15th for essential staff training.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries 3-0. Thank you for coming in today, Lisa.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Lisa.
Next, we're going to move on to our 6.5 9:30 item. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our 9:30 item is consideration of a presentation giving an update on the Lake County Resilience Hub Work Group of the American Red Cross Community Adaptation Program, and presented by our Administrative Office and also Red Cross here. Terry, are you going to be starting this, or?
I will. I need to get the presentation. It's lovely here, but I can't. That chair is very low. It's on the desktop. It's already open. Mm-mm. It's behind the window. It's already open. Oh, it's a PDF. Yes. Okay. I can't share.
There it is.
Great, thank you. I'm Terry Logson, the Chief Climate Resiliency Officer and Tribal Liaison for your county, and we are here today before your board with the Community Adaptation Program of Red Cross, which has created a growing network of community-based resilience center through the Lake County Resilience Hub Work Group. The Red Cross has partnered with the Lake County Community Organizations Active in Disasters, or the COAD, and the Lake County Community Health Adaptation and Resilience Mobilization CHARM teams for this work. We are here to inform your board and offer a high-level overview of current progress, including a map of participating sites, an update on resilient power capacity, generators, batteries, and solar, and key readiness milestones. As part of this work, CHARM is partnering with the Resilience Hub Network to support site-based workshops and community engagement events at each of Lake County's newer resilience centers, strengthening local readiness for extreme heat and other climate-related disruptions. Pastor Shannon Kimbaloff here from Red Cross and Susan Palaconis with Tracking California will highlight the training outcomes to date, including CPR first aid participation and instructor development, FEMA, and other preparedness courses completed, and ongoing efforts to strengthen consistent activation criteria, communication readiness, and coordinated service delivery during disruptions such as extreme heat and PSPS, or public power safety shutoffs. So I will turn it over to Pastor Shannon.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having us to share a little bit about the Resilience Hub Work Group today. I do want to start by saying that community resilience is really built on the strength of community connection. It's about mutual support during adversity. Some people say it's about rising after falling. We know that work very well in Lake County. So to that point, I do want to say it's really not about the Red Cross, although I do facilitate the Resilience Hub Work Group. And that group has, as Terry said, really increased over the last 3 years. So the first time that we presented was almost 3 years ago, in August, I think, 2023. The thing that holds all of the sites together is our communication and coordination. It is not about every site being the same. So each of the centers that is in the Resilience Hub Work Group continue to be independent. They are their own. They operate with their own rules, but what they agree to do is to collaborate with the group and to support one another. So I'll talk a little bit about how that looks as we go on. This map that you have before you is a draft. It is the first stages of how to see where the sites are. As you can see, every community in the county is not covered, but when you consider that there were 0 sites 3 years ago, and now we have sites pretty much surrounding the lake, including on Cobb and in Middletown, there are other sites that are not on this map, and I want to acknowledge that. first, and there are two reasons for that. The first is that even if someone is in the project, but they did not complete the form that said, yes, could include us on the map, they're not on the map. They had to complete that form to make it onto this map. Part of the reason for that is that this is a public presentation and goes into the public record, and not all of our sites are ready for everybody to know that they are part of this project because they are all in very different stages. The second is that there may be centers that consider themselves to be resilient centers, but because they're not coordinating or collaborating with others, they're not part of the project. And this is really trying to show the collaboration of the different centers around the lake. Now, what you are looking at right now is just a PDF because we weren't sure we'd be able to share the live map. So I took a couple screenshots of what you can do with the map once we officially share it with you. So this next slide shows, for example, that if you click on any of the centers, it will tell you about that center. It will tell you where they are in terms of their progress, their readiness to have to welcome people into the Resilient Center. It will tell you what kind of power they have. It will tell you what kind of pet policy they have, all of those types of things. But I started with Scotts Valley. One of the reasons that I chose that as the first window is that I wanted to point out that they're in the project, but they don't have property, right? But last week, for example, Nazba had to leave, unfortunately. So last week, for example, when we had the severe cold snap come through in Big Valley, which is also not on the map, when they did a soft open of their Resilient Center, Scotts Valley helped to staff it for one shift of the work. So different sites provide different things to the project overall. And as we go forward, we're going to add additional layers. So the next layer to come on, as an example, will be adding sites that resource the resilient centers. And that would include, for example, NCO, which brought food and water when Big Valley opened last week. So go ahead to the next slide. I wanted to show you this next one because it is a center that is open. So this one happens to be in Lakeport, just not even a mile from us. And if you look, you'll see that they are ready to serve. If you ask them as a Board of Supervisors and said, hey, we really need a resilient center open at this time for this purpose, for this length of time, under these conditions, they would say yes, as it met with their policies and their warming center. So some sites like United Christian Parish, which you have up before you, has a pet policy of no pets inside. But when it's extreme heat, they have misters up in the tree and a shade, and they've got kennels that animals can be put in or can be kept on leash. So each of the sites has to have a pet policy in order to be part of the project, because we know people will show up with pets, so they need to be prepared for what they're going to say. Overall, even if a site is ready to receive people as a resilient center, power is the next key measure. So the three categories that we measure in terms of resilient power are solar power, generator, and battery. And I've presented on that specific cadre to you before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it now, but I do want to point out that those three measures of power are recorded on the resilience map. So if you're in the middle of a power outage, you know that you're looking for one of these three types of power, if they have solar or generator versus just a smaller battery. So next, each of the sites, regardless of where they are in terms of readiness, have received this battery. And what this enables them to do is to have resilient communication, because they can charge cell phones on it in the case of a power outage, regardless of what kind of power they have at their site. This unit is also approved so that it can charge durable medical equipment. So when Big Valley opened their Resilience Center last week, they had 2 of these batteries available for the clients, one so that they could charge cell phones and one so that they could charge medical equipment in the event that it was needed. As it happened, we didn't lose power in that storm, so it was not needed. The last thing that I want to say before I turn it over to Susan is that the other piece that really connects the resilience centers in my mind is that the level of training. It's not only how they collaborate and support one another, but every site has either already completed having 2 people trained in CPR, or they are scheduled to have that training brought to them. Most of the sites have AED units, and currently the next phase of training is not only to be CPR certified, but to provide 2 new CPR instructors for Lake County. So I have the last slide, so I will turn it over to Susan now.
Susan Polyukonis with Tracking California, which is a program of the Public Health Institute. I'm joined by my colleagues. We're all thrilled to be here today. Thank you for this opportunity. Tracking California does a lot with data and health surveillance, and we started working with Big Valley way back in 2014 on some things and started to explore data around the health outcomes of health-related illness in this area. And what we found, especially in 2 peak years, 2017 and 2022, but really across the board, is that this county has a significantly higher rate of heat-related illness emergency visits. And so that is a problem and also an opportunity to bring funding in and to address the problem. And that is in part why we're here. So we began working again with Big Valley, very close partners with us over the years, in 2023 with funding from NIH. On the CHARM project. And the goal of the first phase of this was to understand the impact of extreme weather on the most vulnerable communities. So we're talking about unhoused folks, seniors, people living in perhaps older mobile homes, those kinds of groups. So we did a lot of work there. And whoops, let's go back to there we go. And one of the parts of that project was bringing together all of the groups that you see on this slide, as well as a few more. And I don't know that we knew in the early days how important just that act of bringing everybody together was, but it turned out to be, I think, a great springboard into many of the things that Pastor Shannon is describing. So these folks are all still working with us in phase 2, and we can go to the next slide. And NIH was really impressed with the work that we did, and they actually reached out to us and said, could you submit a proposal for doing an intervention trial in Lake County that looks at the kinds of programs, the kinds of health education that might help some of these vulnerable communities become more resilient, as well as the communities themselves becoming more resilient. So we were awarded $1.4 million per year for a 4-year project, which is not insignificant. That money is going back to all of the different sites that we're working with, and I think helping support some of this work. And I just want to call out that this is a really big deal project within NIH. This is not your standard issue, here, have a grant, go do something, and don't talk to us. In fact, they drive us a little bit crazy at NIH because it is high profile. There are only 3 projects around the country that are doing similar work. The other 2 are in Alaska and Colorado. And when we are done with this project, whatever we have to say, which is we hope that this program that we've created does help build resilience, that will become a national model. That is the idea for other rural communities who are at risk of extreme heat. And of course it turned off. So let's go to the next slide. So this is our approach. Within Tracking California with all of our community engaged research, but I think this approach of really building trust, of really working on collaboration, coordination, partnership, I think has really been beneficial in this work and has, I think, driven some change. And I think the last slide is just a picture of where we're going. Yep. This is where we are. We are about to start our pilot project. That's what I wanted to say. We are working with 3 centers in the county currently for the pilot project. One is the new Big Valley Community Center. One is the Clear Lake Senior Center, and one is the Circle of Native Minds. And our plan had been to work with Circle as well as Big Oaks going forward for the full intervention. So we're also here to really support possibly the extension of those centers staying open. They're very important resources. So we are starting our pilot in 3 weeks, I think, and we will finish up in May, and then we will have more to say about what comes next.
Okay, so the last slide that I wanted to share was a question that I thought might come up, and even if it didn't, I wanted you to ask, and that is, how can additional sites become part of the project and the Resilience Hub overall? And that is to become part of the Resilience Hub work group. So the Resilience Hub work group meets sometimes monthly, like we have met monthly over the last 6 months, I feel, but other times we might go 2 or 3 months without meeting. In addition to the specific work on the Resilience Hub, we are part of the overall COAD, Community Organizations Active in Disaster, and our next meeting is Friday, March 20th from 9:30 to 11:30. That is open to the public. I do not know the location of that meeting. So please reach out to me if you would like to be part of that and you have not received an invitation. And then the secondary piece to that is, if you have a community center that wants to be a part of the Resilience Hub work group, all you need to do, as Supervisor Rasmussen did just a couple days ago, is send me an email introducing me to them and them to me, and then we will set up a meeting with them to talk to them about what it would look like for their center. And that is our presentation. Any questions?
Well, that was going to be my question. But anything from supervisors?
I had actually spoke with Terry about that very same thing as well, to see if the people in Lower Lake, I noticed there was not a center in Lower Lake, to see if there's an area there that might be interested, and then in Hidden Valley as well. That's a pretty large community. So those two communities might
Spring
benefit.
Valley also missing, but one of the things that I want to be clear on is that we don't choose the sites. They choose themselves, and they say they want to be part of the project. So whether, in Lower Lake, as an example, does the Brick Hall team have staffing to be able to run a center, or the Methodist Church? But there needs to be a core group that wants to be part of the project. We aren't. We're building capacity for those groups, but there has to be something there to start with.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in Spring Valley too. I mean, you didn't mention them because they're not your area, but that also is a missing site.
Sure, thank you.
Well, thank you for mentioning Spring Valley, because it is my area. But yeah, no, all the questions that I had were answered in the presentation. I was wondering, Circle of Native Minds, right here in Lakeport, okay, yeah, I was wondering. And I was wondering what made that a spot to be, like why was that place chosen? Was it because, maybe you'll explain it to me.
Yeah, a couple different reasons. As with any of the sites, they were chosen because they wanted to be. I want to start with there as an emphasis, but also because they serve a particular population that needs assistance, that they wanted to increase their own capacity to serve. So that was one piece of it, and then another piece of it was that CHARM, which is the research part of this whole project, has a contract with the county, and that was one of the sites that the county chose. So in all of these sites, it is about that collaboration and partnership.
Okay.
Do you want to say something about that more than what okay, there we go.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. And just one question to make sure I understand correctly, of the 14 that are on this map, not all of those, they're all on there because they have some type of capacity to do something.
Yes.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that they can open as a full site today. Is that correct?
That is correct. And when you look at the live map, which is what I wanted to share with you, but Terry was like, no, it has to be a static. When you look at the live map, you just click on each of them and it tells you where they are at.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see that. We expect to be able to release that full map by June 1st. That is you didn't ask that question, but I figure that's the next question.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Anything further from board members? Not seeing any, I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the room who would like to comment on this presentation? Not, yes, go ahead and come forward. State your name, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, Board Chair Rasmussen. Just a follow-on question. I noticed the map is great. Everything here is wonderful. I was wondering if it could be asked of the group if this could be on the parcel viewer for the county where our resiliency centers are located. It appears that it's in the Google Maps, which is great, but to be on the county website and to enhance the use of the parcel viewer, it might be a reasonable suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm not sure that we'd be able to answer that question today, but
I can look into it.
But admin staff will take a look at that and see what the capacity is.
And not before the map is actually released, which we
Correct.
anticipate being in June.
Yeah.
It would be premature to list it now.
Yes. Yes.
Hi, my name is Aliza Geverts. I work at Big Valley Rancheria as the Community Resilience Manager and had the opportunity to work with Pastor Shannon in terms of opening the warming center this past week. I've also spent 6 years as disaster program manager for Red Cross, so I've opened multiple shelters, and just wanted to let you know what goes into the warming centers or any shelter overnight. You know, you have cots and blankets. You want to make sure people have hot coffee or tea. You need dinner and breakfast the next morning. And hopefully you've got a whole lot of volunteers who are manning or personing the center, right? But there's a cost, and so the tribal administrator was able to carve out $1,000 for us, and I think we were able to do the entire 2 days in just under $800. So there is a cost, there's an investment to be able to do it, and certainly to maintain that over time, you know, in terms of everything from bathroom supplies to making sure things are clean and needing staff on hand to be able to do that. So just wanted to add that little element, but we're happy to do it and glad to be a part of the project. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone further in the room? Not seeing anyone online? We have no hands online. I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board for anything further. I don't believe we have anything further. So thank you for, unless you have something further, Terry.
No, I will have a conversation with them just to find out where other public presentations on this so that organizations can find out more about it and let the public know.
Thank you.
I would have one thing to say. Maybe, have you yet participated at the local town halls by chance?
I think we were scheduled to present to the town hall in Upper Lake, but it didn't happen because of the storm, and Tammy and I had wound up deploying, but we are happy to do that.
I think that would be, so that the community knows, you know.
We're happy to do that. Again, we just need to be invited.
Okay, okay, thank you.
We'll get you invited.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to move on to our 10 a.m. item 6.6 on the agenda. It's a public hearing regarding community development block grant funding for the Business Assistance Loan Program and sewer line testing of the Southeast Regional Wastewater System. And we have our administrative office, Mr. Rickelman here, and as well as our Special Districts Administrator, Robin Bourret, with additional folks here to present. Will you be starting this, Ben?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Board. Ben Rickelman, Deputy County Administrative Officer. Thanks for having us here. So we came to the board January 13th with a community development block grant resolution for an application, and it was for an economic development program to continue the low interest small business lending program and then a new facade improvement program. 2 days before that, January 11th, 2026, there was the Robin Lane sewage spillage. So there was discussions of modifying the CDPG application, and so that's why we're back here in front of the board. It is now 1.5 million, which is the same amount when we came in January for the economic development program. And then there's now this addition of 2.1 million for the Southeast Water treatment collection system. It would be diagnostic and cleaning of certain pipes in that system, which Robin could speak to in more detail.
Thank you. Go ahead, Director.
Good morning. So the CDBG application for the Southeast Collection System would include both line cleaning and CCTVing or videoing the entire system. There's 90 miles of gravity pipeline and 10 miles of force main pipeline. Force main will be more of a challenge to, it's not something that's traditionally cleaned or videoed, so there'd be short runs that we could access from like the lift station into the force main a certain distance as far as the camera would go, but the full inspection of the force main wouldn't be possible. But it would inspect all of the manholes and the gravity pipeline, which then it would tell us which ones needed to be replaced, which ones needed slip lining, the overall condition, and it would also assess any unlicensed or illegal connections that have been made to the system that we don't have on our current maps.
Thank you. Anything further?
Not at this moment. We also do have Jeff Lucas here with Community Development Services. He's worked with the county with our economic development programs and would help prepare this application.
Anything further, Mr. Lucas? Or?
No, this is a great project, and this year it's going to be pretty competitive for us. So we're working very closely with special district staff to gather as much information and document why this is an essential project for us to.
Thank you. Any questions from board members at this point? Not seeing any. I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. We'll start in the room. We have our Clear Lake City Manager. If you could state your name for the record, please, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Alan Flora, Clear Lake City Manager. Thank you, Chair Rasmussen, board members. Wasn't planning on speaking on this today, but since I'm here, well, I think we can all agree that the Southeast system needs a lot of help. So I appreciate the board being willing to look at providing some of that help. Just wanted to share a couple of things because I think the approach here makes sense in some regards, but have some concerns. In 2019, pretty much the entire system was CCTV, and my understanding is very little operation and maintenance efforts happened as a result of that. In fact, in 2024, there were a number of notices of violation issued on the Southeast system from the State Water Board. One of them is specifically related to this, or a number of them actually. Number 4, the enrollee does not have formalized standard operating procedures for training and operation and maintenance. The enrollee does not review CCTV footage after the initial inspection. Enrollee does not have a method in place to inspect and maintain air relief valves. Enrollee does not have a computerized maintenance management system and relies on historical knowledge of problem areas. So further, I think it was 23 or 24 that the board approved nearly a $500,000 purchase of a new van and camera system for special districts. It certainly seems like that large investment should be able to be used for this type of work. While with the issues that we see in the system now, I certainly think if grant funding can be obtained to do this faster and provide a process for special districts to actually make maintenance efforts as a result of it, you know, I think that's something we could support, but I just want to let the board know that getting the camera footage itself is something that Special Districts has had for a number of years and hasn't acted upon, so I would encourage you to make sure that this time that happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do Do you want to respond, Director?
Yeah, so the CCTV that would be done with this program would automatically be uploaded into the system and identify by colors where problem areas are, helping us prioritize where projects need to be done. If we used our existing camera van that, since our CMOM has been here almost a year, he's got it up and operational. However, if he was going to camera the 90 plus miles of line, he would be doing nothing but cameraing the lines for the next probably 3 years. So it's a huge undertaking with such a large collection system. So this funding would allow us to basically get caught up on that and then start identifying our priority areas.
Thank you. Supervisor Crandall.
Ben, the 3.6, if it's awarded, is that like a, I don't want to say guarantee, but is that ideally what it's going to be? If there's anything less, is there going to be like a priority or a triage type of thought to how you'll spend it or how you'll address?
So the 3.6 million is the total that any jurisdiction can obtain for a multitude of activities. So in this case, we're requesting 2.1 for this particular work, and then the 1.5 for the economic development low interest loan program. Is that?
Yes, because yes, I mean, I think my question revolves more around the other side, not the economic development side of it. Yeah, go ahead.
On prioritizing the use of funds?
Well, yeah, if you weren't able to get the full award in regard to the 2.1, sorry.
2.1.
2.1, yes, and if it was less, how would you prioritize the work?
We could prioritize our project. We would split the system up into different areas. You know, it's for the entire 90 miles of gravity line. So if we got a portion of that, then it would cover only, you know, a portion of those gravity lines. We kind of know where our problem areas are and that we would start on those problems first.
That's kind of why I asked, so that the public knows that you're looking at the problem areas first, but then still trying to lay it all out. That's kind of what I was leading to.
And so, yeah, that's where we would focus if we only got partial of the funding. But if we got all the funding, then we'll plan on doing the entire system.
Okay, thank you. That's all. That's one of my questions.
Thank you. Was there anyone else in the room?
I was just going to add with the triaging or reconfiguring it if it's a partial award with economic development. I mean, those are based on individual loans and then individual businesses with the facade improvement, so it could be scaled back also in that regard.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, go ahead, Mr. Lucas.
I have one more comment in regards to your question. In the application, the jurisdiction is asked to prioritize use of funds for the very reason that there's very limited funds available for the entire state. And so that's really a determination by you folks on, if we had to, we're in a situation where they said, you know, you can have one or the other, or a majority for this project, or and a lesser amount for a program. There is a box we have to check on that in the application, and certainly that's a determination by the board and admin staff, I guess, on that.
Thanks.
It's not,
I appreciate you saying that, yeah.
All right, not seeing anyone else in the room. Was there anyone online? No hands? I'll bring it back to the board for a possible action or further questions.
I offer the resolution.
The resolution's been offered.
Supervisor Owen?
Aye.
Supervisor Crandall?
Aye.
And Supervisor Rasmussen?
Aye. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. We're going to move on to our 6.7 1030 item, which is A, consideration of a governance workshop presentation for University of California Cooperative Extension, UCCE, and B, consideration of a presentation on the University of California Livestock and Natural Resources Program, being presented by our UC Extension And we have Mr. Barnes here, and I'll let you introduce. Good morning, board. I'm not sure. Yeah, there you go.
Good morning, board. Thank you for your time. Matthew Barnes, Director of University of California Cooperative Extension. So item A this morning will be the governance report, and item B will be the introduction of our new Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor, Jenny Lane.
I didn't catch her name.
Jenny Lane.
Jenny Lane.
Thank you.
So as a refresher for the public and the board, Cooperative Extension, our programs include academic advisors who do research on a number of different areas related to sustainable agriculture, such as forestry health, water resources, viticulture and vineyard health, diversified agriculture, and we'll be talking about 2025, but we'll roll into 2026, where, of course, we're adding not only the livestock and natural resources position, but we are also hiring a new academic advisor for our 4-H college and career programs as well. Okay, so in 2025, let me go back. So those are our academic advisors, but of course we also house the county's 4-H program and connect our local 4-H clubs to the statewide program, and also the Master Gardener program. So those programs and our academic advisor programs, we engage 4,261 Lake County residents through workshops, field demonstrations, educational events, and online resources. We hosted or supported 135 workshops and events addressing forestry health, fire resilience, diversified agriculture, gardening, water stewardship, and youth leadership. Supported 4-H youth development, leveraging 8,400 volunteer hours, expanding leadership, STEM, agriculture, and civic engagement opportunities for our 292 enrolled 4-H youth. We advanced diversified agriculture research and outreach, supporting specialty crops, including pears, walnuts, olives, wine grapes, and emerging alternatives through applied research, pest management, pruning demonstrations, and grower education. Yeah, that's fine. Let me see in my notes. Okay. Additionally, we expanded forestry and wildfire resilience programming, providing landowners and tribal communities with tools for vegetation management, post-fire recovery, prescribed fire capacity building, and invasive pest response. Strengthened tribal partnerships with our partnership with the Middletown Rancheria Pomo Indians in integrating UC science with traditional ecological knowledge through collaborative forestry, fire, water, and agriculture initiatives. We delivered Master Gardener education and outreach, supporting water conservation, sustainable landscaping, fire-wise gardening, and local food production through trained volunteers. So our metrics here, I mentioned our engagement number and workshops, 8,400 hours, again, for our volunteer hours in 4-H, and 292 4-H youth participating. So pretty much across the board, we have increased engagement and enrollment. Our community partnerships with agencies, tribes, and organizations continues to expand. Applied research and extension focus areas, kind of what I mentioned in the beginning, are different advisor areas as well as our programs. So in 2026, we hope to expand on all of our current programs. Really just overall, what we're aiming for in 2026 is to align with the county departments, other county organizations, and what the community needs with our applied science research and 4-H and Master Gardener programs, in addition to onboarding our new advisors as they come on board. So looking forward to this year coming up. I think that's kind of redundant. Yeah, good. So yeah, open it up to any questions you might have.
Any questions from board members? Go ahead, Supervisor Hahn.
Okay. Well, welcome, Jenny Lane. Thank you. Mike Thompson had wrote something just recently about the struggles here in California with our agriculture. It looks like in 2025, we lost over 400 producers. And farms have either closed or left California due to the high expenses and other, along with financial struggles, predator issues, et cetera, et cetera. Is that within your preview? And if so, what can you tell me about that we're doing at a state and or national level to help our farmers and ranchers? Hi.
I also have some slides too, so like an introduction, so happy to do that first and then get into your question.
Perfect.
Because I think part of that will come up with
Okay, great, thank you.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, any other questions on the first part of the presentation? Not seeing any. Thank you.
Okay, so while she's bringing that up, Jenny Lane, our new University of California Cooperative Extension Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor serving Lake and Mendocino counties. Jenny brings a wide range of experience in livestock development, food systems, and natural resource management to her new role as Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor. Before joining Cooperative Extension, Jenny worked with the One Health Institute at UC Davis, where she helped lead research and training efforts focused on livestock health, wildlife conservation, watershed restoration, and resilient food systems. Her training background bridges animal and public health and natural resource stewardship, and she brings experience translating research into usable guidance for producers and land managers. Okay.
Thank you, Matthew. So as Matthew mentioned, so I started on January 15th as the new Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor for Lake and Mendocino counties. I am a resident already of Lake County. I live with my family outside of Middletown. And I actually grew up though in Western New York in a pretty rural area. And I first started off my career as an equine ambulatory veterinarian, actually, working on the East Coast. And then also with dairy farmers, sort of through a very roundabout way. I started working with a lot of livestock producers, mostly in Central and South America, and I got really interested in the linkages between animal source foods and human nutrition and rural livelihoods. So I actually went and got a master's in public health in California. So that brought me to California in 2013. And then I spent several years working with the big butter company, Land O'Lakes International Development, across East Africa with smallholder producers. So farmers that are sort of mixed crop livestock, subsistence agriculture, and mostly rain-fed systems, and got a lot of experience with sort of working in rural, low-resourced areas, and then spent a year working on food security policy in Washington, D.C., also with Land O'Lakes. And then after that, I came back to California, and since 2017, I was working at UC Davis in the School of Veterinary Medicine in the One Health Institute, looking at a variety of different programs around livestock disease and wildlife health research, disaster preparedness. I ran a One Health education program, really sort of looking at how human health, environmental health, and animal health are interconnected. I was involved with large-scale watershed restoration work up in Plumas County, at the Feather River headwaters in sort of a mixed-use riparian watershed area. So I have worked both sort of domestically, really locally in California, and then also sort of in international area settings too. And I'd say since moving to Lake County in 2021 and being the steward of a small piece of land that went through the Valley Fire, I've just really I recognized that I wanted to move my sort of professional attention to something really local. And this job came up last year, and it felt like a really good next step to be able to mix a lot of my different interests in a way that can give back to the local community. So really for the first year, my goals for the program are to work with livestock producers and land managers and other agricultural sort of community members to collaboratively address our local needs and priorities through improving livestock and rangeland health, help contribute to a thriving local economy, and leverage livestock to improve wildfire resilience, I think are going to be some of my top goals to start out with. And really sort of major priorities for the first sort of next 6 months to a year are to meet and network with all the variety of people that live here and work here and call this area home. I'm planning on doing a thorough and thoughtful needs assessment, and steps for that have already started. So that's sort of multiple sort of different types of conversations, community meetings, stakeholder interviews, and triangulate all of that information to come up with a plan to sort of address our top priority topics that come up in the area. And sort of already starting with that, so meeting with the Ag Commissioner, the Farm Bureau, RCD, other sort of stakeholders in the region, and then plenty of producers. And I'm happy to meet more people and get to know them and what their sort of desires and needs are in the area. So that's you can join a mailing list for updates from the program. And Supervisor Owens, to your question, I mean, I agree. I think so. Lake County, especially, our landscape is, I think we all love living here. It's an incredible landscape. It offers a lot for agricultural production, recreation, wildlands. There are plenty of economic opportunities. So I agree, the loss of farmland and agricultural producers is very concerning. And I know that the Farm Bureau, both at the county and the state level, are taking steps to try to sort of improve opportunities for farmers. There are some big producers in this county who have major concerns around the cost of labor and the cost of doing business. So I think working with those groups and identifying opportunities that I can help and identify places where can research contribute here, can more education contribute here, do we need to come up with working with other people. So there's a person like me in most other counties across the state, so other livestock and natural resource advisors are also working on these issues. Do we need more science to be able to advocate for different policies at the state level? For example, for around things like predation or cost of labor that is making it prohibitively expensive or impossible to raise livestock here.
A lot of it, I believe, is regulations, and that includes labor costs and the requirements that are, the burden that they've put upon them is, they're driving them out. And nationwide, it looks like we've lost about 1,500 farms nationwide, which would be an average of 30. So at 400 for our state, 30 per state. So at 400 for our state, that's well over the nation's average.
Yep.
So
I grew up in rural upstate New York, so sort of in the 90s, I watched dairies just disappear because it was too expensive for farmers to farm. So I understand what that, like, I've watched it for a long time, and I'd love to be able to work with others to identify sort of leverage points that we can use to advocate to bring farmers back here, because there's still land available and opportunities, especially for things like targeted grazing and other sort of places where we can address existing issues in the county through livestock. I think there are opportunities here for that.
And I believe that at the national level right now that there's some things going on, some movements because of overreach of basically government and restrictions that I think that we're starting to get some support. So Rawlings, I know, has been very proactive.
Yeah.
So I think now's a good time to start working together.
Yeah, there might be a good policy window right now for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Supervisor Crandall.
I see wildfire resilience, but it's also, I think what also would help too is for floods as well. So some of the areas where we have vegetation in the channels and things like that, it might be another way to, coordinate, when it comes to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Do we have anybody in the room? You'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Board. Director Barnes and Ms. Lane, thank you for your presentations. Very interesting. When it comes to the needs assessment, I think that's...
Margot, could you just state your name for the
sorry.
record? Yeah.
Margot Kambara.
Thank you.
Taking a needs assessment is an excellent idea to find out what should the priorities for the county be and the stakeholders. So for your list, I suggest adding the feral pig problem. It is a national problem. It's a regional problem. It's definitely a Lake County problem. Right now, it's taken on as an individual, like parcel to parcel or landowner to landowner basis, but maybe we need a regional approach, to eradicate these pests. So please, I suggest that we take a look at that and perhaps explore grant funding that might be available. But I think the most effective way to tackle that problem would be on a regional basis, but definitely a county-wide basis. Thank you so much, and welcome, Ms. Lane.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Not seeing any. We'll move online. Nobody online. I'll bring it back to the board, and these were presentations only. So anything further, Mr. Barnes? Or no? Thank you for coming in today and presenting those valuable information. We appreciate it.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
I'm going to move on to our 6.8, 10:45 a.m. item, consideration of enterprise resource planning project, and that is presented by our auditor controller, county clerk, and CAO.
Oh, wait.
Yes, Chair.
Hang on. What's that?
Yes, Chair. The department head has requested that this be moved to the next available date. We can accommodate that on March 3rd.
March 3rd?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll bring it to the board. Is there any comments regarding moving this item?
No, I had actually asked that it be removed as well. And so I'm for wait until all of our board members are here for this presentation.
Okay, it looks like we've got consensus to move in that direction, but I want to open it up to the public for just whether or not we're going to move this item. Not seeing any in the room. Anyone online? Now bring it back to the board, and I saw consensus already, so that item is going to be moved to March 3rd. Next, I'm going to move on to our 11 a.m. item, which is consideration of Amendment 2 between the County of Lake and Evero Advisors for Enterprise Resource Planning Implementation Services. And we have our Auditor Controller here.
Good morning, Board. I had aligned or Genevieve Harrington, Auditor Controller, I had aligned the presentation for the Enterprise Resource Planning System to align with this contract amendment, which is very important. This, just so you know, this Avero is the consultant that has been with us through the beginning of the project, and what's in front of you is the remainder of the contract that should get us through the end. So I'm happy to move the presentation so that way the whole board can be here. I had to put a lot of work into it, so that's fine. But the contract I was hoping we could move forward with today.
Okay, well, board members, do you have any input on that?
I have a little bit.
Go ahead, Supervisor Owen.
I do know that I had, as a courtesy, spoke with, kind of reached out to the other supervisors that were gone to see if, if there was anything that they were, would like to be here for. And that was one of the items that they had wanted to wait till they were here on. However, since then, I've spoke with Genevieve about this, and it sounds like it's really kind of up against a wall, a bit of a wall, and that this has been we've spoke about this in the past. So she did try to reach out to Supervisor Sabatier, wasn't able to reach him, as I understand it. And so I know that, I believe, Alan, are you here on this? No? Okay. So as it looks, I'd just like to get the input from everybody. Because we are up against a wall, I would like to wait, but it sounds like that would kind of put a kink in the rope.
Well, and if it helps, this was a line item that was spelled out in the budget, so it is the same contractor, same work that has been approved. We're well under the budget amount, well under the appropriations.
Sure.
So, but it's just we would like to get the invoices paid for the consultant. So that's all this is. I was hoping to align it with the presentation, but if we could go ahead and just move forward with the contract, and I'll come back with the answers to any questions anybody has.
And we need to do, I'm okay with moving forward with it because we are in a pinch.
Thank you very much.
Supervisor
Just
Crandall.
a couple of questions or thoughts. Is there a way to break down the $225,000 and how it'll be used?
For which?
Well, so what we're receiving is approximately 2 to 3 project manager, kind of like a department head level staff that is helping because it's a very long-term project. So it goes back about 18 months now. So through that time, we've had employee negotiations where half of the county staff is pulled, and I can't stop the project. So what happens is a consultant will attend the meeting and then debrief the county staff member once they're available so that they continue. And then when they're done with their task, they can come back in. Because this was a long-term, so it's a long-term project, but it's not the type where we would want to hire full-time staff because we do know that it's going to end. So the use of consultants made the most sense. We needed to beef up the staff in order to handle the project, but not with adding actual full-time staff members. So the types of work, attending meetings, let's see. So going back to I'm sorry, so the 225, so you're asking from now to the remainder of the project?
Yeah, how can we get
So they will be with us. Going forward, we need to have payroll conversations with every single county department. We also need to meet with the individual departments regarding how they're going to manage their assets. So we kind of have to retrain everybody, and so we're training groups to then hold smaller groups to then train the fiscal people in the areas that they need. And so these consultants are helping us manage a lot of those groups, take notes in the meetings, catch. They act as a staff member would when you would have put together the type of team you would put together for this type of project. It's just They're not full-time staff, they're consultants.
Thank you.
Was your,
Oh, that's it, yeah, sorry.
were you wanting to go forward with any part of this?
I mean,
or-
if, I think Supervisor Owen, you said you were okay with moving forward with this?
Yeah, actually, I've spoke with Ms. Genevieve, and it sounds like it's important to move this forward today. I would, if there was a way to hold it without it affecting, but it sounds like that there's an effect on the other end, so I think it sounded like we needed to move forward.
And just to point out, again, it's already approved. Like, there is nothing out of the ordinary that's being brought up here, and so I'm not sure what.
So is there anything in the presentation that we would need related to the second part of it with the contract?
Not that I'm aware of. You know, the presentation is kind of high level. So back in November when we had asked about it, I was thinking it was an update. I got a little feedback and I added some numbers. And so if there's no specific answer in the presentation for anything regarding this amendment, because I don't understand what the question is.
Okay. So it sounds like we're okay moving forward, but maybe holding the presentation portion of it? Yeah, so let me just check in. Is there any public comment regarding whether or not we move the presentation portion to another date? Not seeing any in the room or online, so we can go ahead and hold the presentation and move forward on the contract portion today.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve amendment number 2 between the County of Lake and Avero Advisors for Enterprise Resource Planning Implementation Services.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a sec, excuse me, go ahead, County Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and just for your board's consideration, add to the motion, authorize chair to sign.
So moved.
So we have an amended motion, still seconded by Supervisor Owen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you very much.
And I believe it's a date unknown for the first part of that,
March 3rd?
I think it's March 3rd.
I recommended March 3rd.
March 3rd, so we'll go ahead and move that one to March 3rd as well.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much.
And next, we're going to move on to our 6.10 item, which is consideration of a presentation of tax default land sale letter and memo. Again, that would be presented by our auditor controller. Do you have information?
Yes, Chair. She's asked this also be moved to a future available date, which is March 3rd.
Okay. So we do have a request to move this one as well to March 3rd. Is there any objection from supervisors?
Nope.
Not seeing any. I'll open it up to the public, just limited to whether or not we're going to postpone the item, not the item itself. And we have our Clear Lake City Manager.
Hi, Alan Flora, Clear Lake City Manager, Chair Rasmussen, board members. I guess, I don't know how deep we want to get into this, but I'm not sure that we could restrict this item just to whether it's going to be extended or not, but I did want to, if I can, make some brief comments related to this, and there is a request from the city related to direction for when the item comes back, which may be appropriate for you to consider today, if it's okay with the chair.
Would that be the message we got earlier?
It is.
Okay. And we have received that and shared with county staff as well.
Okay. See, I mean, I would prefer to share it verbally if that's okay, but.
Well, right now, if county council can weigh in, I think we need to decide whether or not we're going to move the item, which is the question on the table right now.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Chair. So what's presented to your board at this point under this item is to just pull it to a later date, not the substance of the item itself.
Right. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and not allow detailed discussion about the item itself because we're going to move it to March 3rd, but we have received this letter.
Okay.
So
well,
it is.
Again, I think that the item itself is on the agenda, so it's probably not appropriate to restrict comment on the item, but I will just refer you to the written comments that I made.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anyone further? What was that? Betsy, if you can unmute, and again, this is just related to whether or not we're going to continue this item at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Betsy Kahn. I don't know exactly where the line falls, but if communication from the city of Clear Lake was submitted prior to the discussion of this item that relates to this item, I would appreciate it if you would make sure that the document is posted with the current agenda so that the public can see what was submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I stated, we did receive the document from the Clear Lake City Manager. I did personally copy that to county staff this morning to be included in the record for discussion on this item. So I would believe that would be part of the public package. Yeah, it will be, but it would be added to be visible prior to the details of this item discussed for the next meeting. Correct? Yes. Okay. So I believe that would answer that question. Is there anyone further online? No more hands. So I'll bring it back to the board regarding this, moving this item. Do we have consensus on that?
Yes.
Yes, we have consensus, so that is going to be pulled to a future date,
I think it was March 3rd.
March 3rd of 2026. So with that, I'll go ahead and close that item, and we have our next item, 611, which I can't call yet. We're 7 minutes away. Do you have a suggestion, CAO?
7.2.
7.2. So we're going to pass for now 611. I'm going to move on to 7.2, which consideration of Lake County City Area Planning Council membership to remove and appoint a member at large. And I will just start by commenting that Supervisor Sabatier and I are both on the Area Planning Council. We have discussed this item with the Planning Council. That was their recommendation to bring back what's in front of you today. So with that, I'll open a further discussion from board members. Do you have any questions or?
Yeah, 1 second. The Planning Council member, are we removing Mr. Rodriguez or appointing him?
Correct.
Well, I think that's probably not going to happen. I don't think Mr. Rodriguez works for Robinson Rancheria any longer, so.
Okay. Well, my understanding was that I don't know that his application was related to, because I think it was just a member at large position.
Okay.
That's my recollection of that position that we're dealing was a member at large. I don't believe it was specific to any entity or organization.
Okay. Well, if he's in the district, so it's
Yeah.
District 3, so I'm fine with it if he's just serving as a public.
Okay. Okay, any further comment before I open it to the public? Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on this item today in the room? Not seeing any. Do we have anyone online? No hands. I'll bring it back to the board for any further discussion or possible action.
Yeah, I think we should just put this on hold.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do. There's a couple other details that I probably need to talk to county council about on this, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a request from a supervisor to put this item on hold.
I'll second that.
Okay, so there would be consensus. County council, did you want to weigh in on anything?
Just, thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a suggestion to have it open it up for public comment again at this point for the issue of holding this off, essentially continuing this item to a
Okay.
later date, because that was not addressed. prior to the initial public comment.
Yes, so based on subsequent to the public comment, we had further requests from a supervisor to put this on hold. Is there any member of the public now that has comments regarding whether or not we should now continue this item to a future date? Unknown. Not seeing anyone in the room? No hands online, and there is consensus on the board to do that, so we will go ahead and move it to a future date. And we still we're not at time for that other item, so I'm going to move to 7.3, which is consideration of the following advisory board appointments. Number 1, Central Region Town Hall. Number 2, Child Care Planning Council. Number 3, Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health Advisory Committee. And so if we could discuss these, supervisors, we'll start with Central Region Town Hall on any comments or recommendations.
I recommend who's applied.
Okay. Seeing no further comment, Child Care Planning Council. I believe I am an alternate on that, if I recall right. I don't have any concerns about the appointments that are in front of us. Is there any further comment? No. Move on to the Maternal, Child, Adolescent, Mental, or Health Advisory Committee. That, I believe, is one that I'm not sure who the rep, it may be Supervisor Sabatier on that one. Okay, so we've got confirmation he's okay with going forward. I don't know of any information that would prohibit appointing the candidate that's on there. So with that, we will open it up to the public. Is there any member of the public in the room who wishes to comment on any of these appointments today? Not seeing any online, Johanna? No hands. I'll bring it back to the board, and we'll do these one by one, starting with Central Region Town Hall.
Mr. Chair, I motion to approve the application for Leah Robbins for the Central Region Town Hall.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries 3-0. Move on to Child Care Planning Council.
All 4, right? Because I see them.
I believe it's all 4, correct, Johanna?
Mr. Chair, did you want to make the motion? Or?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move to approve for the Child Care Planning Council, Soledad Aguayo, Samantha Bond, Kimberly Gentle, and Miriam McNamara.
Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries 3-0. Moving on to the Maternal, Child, Adolescent Health Committee.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Sabrina Andrus as the for the vacancy for Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health Advisory Board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries 3-0. 5-minute break. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will go back. I know there's folks here. We'll go back to the 6:11, 11:30 item as soon as the break's over. Thank you. And we are going to handle our 11:30 item, which is consideration of approval of a transitional rent provider agreement between Lake County Behavioral Health Services and Partnership Health Plan of California, effective January 1, 2026, to allow the county to provide transitional rent services under the Medi-Cal Community Supports Benefit with no impact to the county general fund. And this is offered by our Behavioral Health Services Department. We have our Director, Elise Jones, here, and I will turn it over here to start the item.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a continuation of an item from a previous agenda at which I was not present. My designee was here. However, I understand that there was an expressed desire, and rightly so, for more consultation and interaction with the tribes, which we wholeheartedly agree. Specifically, I'm aware of a letter sent by Chairwoman Danielle Sorelli regarding their desire to be at the table and participate in that decision-making process. I also found out, and I do see we have tribal representatives here today, that there has been momentum with Partnership Health Plan working directly with tribes and tribal entities on vendorization and pushing out program for the transitional rent benefit. So it'd probably be best for me to conclude my comments and maybe be prepared to hear from the tribal members.
Okay. Do we, before we open it up to comments, do we have anything from supervisors? Go ahead, Supervisor.
Yeah, I was the main one who kind of wanted to look at this because of the, understand that partnership basically operates by going straight through the county behavioral health system to work on any of the aspects of partnership health. And so one of the things that partnership doesn't, and they do in some instances work with tribes on a different level. There was a meeting yesterday where they discussed part of that. However, in this situation and a few others, they use the behavioral health system as a pass-through, and it becomes sometimes arduous and I wouldn't say contentious, but it could get there if we're competing or if there's anything like that. So with regard to Executive Order B1011, there's consultation process in place and different tribes and leaders, and we also have tribal health, Lake County Tribal Health Partnership, who also has a behavioral health system intact. Whether they're working towards providing those services or not, there's still another system in place that these other agencies and tribes can work through. So just wanted to get their input on this and kind of get on the same page. So I hope that helps for what my purpose was, and I'm in agreement that it would be good to hear from the tribal.
And Mr. Chair, I apologize. I know I said I would conclude, but if you would allow me to just briefly.
Yes.
Specifically, I understand the importance of tribal data sovereignty. I know that that's important to the tribes to be able to access data and have control over that, which historically has not happened. So part of that has to do with the Homeless Management Information System, which is a thing of the Lake County Continuum of Care housing, right? And so there's this intersection of the continuum of care, behavioral health, and then Partnership Health Plan to operationalize the transitional rent benefit. So we have identified some tentative technical fixes to allow anonymous entry of data and or a walled garden, they call it, within the database system that partitions off tribal data. And that it's not available to everybody. Of course, it's available to the tribes. I mean, that does require there's some stuff to work out there, some conversations. The other parallel pathway, and I think we'll hear more about that today, is where tribal nations themselves or tribal organizations can contract directly with Partnership Health Plan. And then my final recommendation would be to the board to authorize this agreement, but a directive to require us to initiate formal consultation with Lake County tribes and finalize with Partnership Health Plan a tribal amendment to our agreements, because we were just working off of, ultimately state and then Partnership Health Plan boilerplate agreements. And so there is quite a lot of improvement, I would say, with regard to attention to tribal nations and tribal issues and data sovereignty within those systems themselves. But we are proposing actually language to the state to basically say, like, we'll serve everybody, and to the effect that tribes can, if they wish, use this themselves, can access it themselves, and don't have to go through us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I just wanted to comment, when we received the letter from Chairperson Sorelli from Habemetal yesterday, I did forward that to Director Jones right away, as well as staff. I appreciate all the work you did to look at some options on how we can make this work for the tribes. So with that, if there's nothing further, we can go ahead and open it up to public comment. We'll start in the room. If there's folks in the room that wish to comment, you can please come up to the mic and let us know what your thoughts are. Not seeing any at this. Mr. Bell? If you could just state your name for the record so we have it.
Thank you. Kyle Bill, Executive Director, Conocotai Native Wellness, and I appreciate the comments from Director Jones. I do support that there, at least at minimum, be a language in there to engage with tribes and tribal serving programs. You know, some of the concerns that we wanted to raise is to ensure that we understand that this is all of a new process, especially with the partnership and the health partnership in the state. But I think it's really important for the county to really look at all the departments to ensure that they're having tribal consultation, because at some point a lot of these programs do intertwine and you know, cross over with tribes and tribal programs. So I just wanted to make sure that that is highlighted here. Also just wanting to, we spoke with partnership around this contract, and we were informed that while the process right now that the state has requires the partnership to go to the county for this benefit, they also have an opportunity to contract with tribal or other organizations to deliver the benefit as well. So we would strongly urge the county to ensure that there's not going to be any challenges or issues with other organizations that serve the populations for these benefits, that we could work together collectively to deliver these benefits. Because the biggest concern that we have is, as a tribal organization, we're better positioned to serve tribal populations. And so how can we work with the county and the departments to ensure that our relatives are receiving services that are very crucial, especially this benefit where we're talking about severe mental health and homelessness. There is a lot of challenges that we're experiencing, and we know how to best outreach. We know how to best engage with this population, and also knowing all of the different tribal programs that are available to our relatives that could be sustaining, so that when they do secure housing, that there is a plan to make sure that they're housed long-term, not just in the short term. And I think tribal partners play a very important role in that comprehensive plan that needs to be developed with somebody that's receiving these benefits. So I just wanted to make sure that there's collaboration and it's not being all on the county to deliver these benefits, because there are those historical challenges with getting data. And if that's just getting the data, what are the challenges actually in delivering the services? So we want to make sure that we're a partner, we're at the table, and strongly encourage that collaboration and opportunity to have those discussions together with tribes and tribal serving organizations, so that we really address the whole person and the complex needs of those individuals. So I do agree, would strongly support some revisions to the language in the contract to engage tribal communities. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Lake County to set a precedent for how partnership has contracts with other counties and tribes. So
Thank you. Anyone else in the room who wishes to comment?
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Ernesto Padilla. I'm the CEO for Lake County Tribal Health. And first, just to reiterate what some of the comments were already said, there is a consultation responsibility from the state to government when it comes to any matters tribal, especially healthcare. I think that when that responsibility is given to someone like a managed care program, like partnership, they assume that responsibility. I think that's the piece that was missing here. To my knowledge, they never reached out to us to sit at a table and discuss this. So I think that's one of the points I want to make, that's the missing piece here. And second is the continuity of care, where in this matter, it's a continuity of culturally appropriate care, where it makes sense for these community-based organizations that already have a deep relationship with these patients, and a relationship not only with the patients but also with our behavioral health therapists. We have a team of 15 where they can really serve the patient, I think, in a more culturally appropriate way, and staffing-wise as well. So that's all I wanted to make a comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Katie Ray, Executive Director, Indigenous Futures Foundation. Thank you, Kyle and Ernesto, for your remarks. I don't want to come up and reiterate everything that they've said, but I do want to say that I'm thankful for Ms. Jones and her comments this morning, and it helps me relax a little bit hearing her words and knowing that there could be a possibility for us to work together. We do work very closely with our communities. The stigma around behavioral health is very, very deep, right? Especially coming from our Native community who has a hard time going into behavioral health because of that stigma. When you have someone who works with CBOs, and we've been working with them for a long time, it's a lot more comfortable for them to come to us already. So having for them to switch into a transition and going from Lake County Tribal Health or working with us to going then to county behavioral health could be something that is detrimental to them. So I do look forward to seeing revisions in the contract and going forward with working in a collaborative effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the room?
Good morning, board. Sorry, I'm sick. Flamin McLeod, tribal chairman for Big Valley Band of Pomo Indians. And I do want to reiterate, some of the things that Kyle touched on is, for our people, we have our own social services department, right? That's the first contact our people have, right? And we do utilize the county behavioral health when it's last resort or needed, because we utilize, say, Kanokatai or other programs because they're more culturally sensitive and they understand our people because they're related, we're relatives, right? And so that's something that, I hope is taken into account, and we're appreciative of the words that, the things that you said, and working together is something, moving on and just keeping that relationship open, right? So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Not seeing any. Do we have anyone online? No hands online. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment, bring it back to the board, and we'll start with Supervisor Crandall.
Yes, and so I'm glad that you mentioned, Chair McLeod, that the tribes have their own social services department. Some of the tribes aren't established as of yet, as much as Big Valleys, but I know that others are looking to do some of these things as well. So if we get ahead of this when they start moving forward, we'll be able to have a good relationship and some verbiage that'll ensure that there is consultation. I do like the words that Ernesto CEO Padilla had put in with the continuity of culturally appropriate care. I think it's very important. I have a suggested motion, and I think it might help with what we're looking at here. And if I could just read it, County Council, maybe you can help me with it. That look. You should have seen the look he gave me. So it has to do with, so if I was to move to approve transitional rent provider agreement with the condition that the behavioral health director initiate formal consultation with Lake County's federally recognized tribes within 30 days to discuss tribal participation as designated providers or subcontractors under this agreement, and to develop a non-substantive amendment incorporating tribal coordination provisions, and that being the continuity of culturally appropriated care. I further request that a report on the outcome of these consultations be brought back to this board within 90 days.
I know you didn't ask me, I'm not sure it's non-substantive, but obviously I defer to
Mm-hmm. County Council?
Yeah, so at first reading of it, it would appear that what would be anticipated would be substantive amendments.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why I said that.
It could still be, for
don't have my
purposes of
glasses
that
on.
motion language could still be a part of the motion, just instead of non-substantive, substantive. There would still be deadlines to that effect. Essentially, the approval of the agreement would be conditioned on those items. From what I hear, there's a 30-day deadline to essentially consult, and then there's also a 90-day deadline.
That would be, the 90-day would be just to come back with the information, but
30 days to consult and back to the board to report by
90 days, yeah.
And for clarification, for purposes of that motion, whatever amendments that may be agreed upon between the pertinent parties in this, that would also be presented to your board for possible approval. And my clarification at that point would be, would it be within the 30-day deadline or 90 days?
I would say 90 would be more realistic. We did forward my draft language to Partnership Health Plan, but of course you realize they have their own counsel.
Were you done?
Yes.
Just a question of clarification. So with that motion, if that motion were to go forward, does that allow well, first of all, I'm 100% agreement that we need to talk to the tribal entities and work out what's going to be the best path forward for them. But if that motion were to carry forward, does that allow this agreement to be used in other areas of the community that were not tribal prior to the tribal portion of it getting worked out? Does that make sense? That's my question.
So as it's framed, the motion language conditions the approval of the agreement, your board or the county's approval of the agreement conditioned on these items, 30-day deadline, 90-day deadline. If those items are not met in some form or fashion, then your board essentially revokes or takes back that approval. Therefore, the agreement would not be approved by your board. So because it's a conditional. So to your question, that I think it relates to your question, Mr. Chair, regarding, at what stage would the agreement be? And I think that part of the what's factored in here is Partnership Health, because they're also the other signatory to this agreement. I believe that the meet and confer process, the consultation process, would incorporate that, so that within those deadlines that are stated, your board will be presented with something as to whether or not those conditions are met under the motion for approval of the agreement under certain conditions.
And the reason I brought that up, I think I had talked to Director Jones about, because I know there's other community members that are like ready and waiting to be able to use this benefit right now. Was I understanding that correctly?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and specifically I'm aware of one non-tribal single parent family with 6 minors.
Okay, so that's why I brought it up I wasn't sure if there was a way to
Bifurcate it or something?
bifurcate it, basically, where it sounds like that would be very complex and problematic at this point, but I just wanted to bring up that question and clarify, because I certainly, we need to work with the tribes 100%, what's going to be best for them, but also we do have other portions of the community that are looking to be able to need this benefit as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why I brought it up. So I'm not sure how to, but it sounds to me like with all the different entities, that would be complex to bifurcate it. Go ahead, County
Thank you,
Counsel.
Mr. Chair. So yes, it would be complicated. It would complicate things to bifurcate the agreement. The agreement wouldn't be fully enforceable until both parties, in this case,
Okay.
there's Partnership Health and the County of Lake, both of them fully execute the agreement. And so even as proposed under the motion language, it may lead to potential complications on the if any of those conditions are not satisfied, and then it's brought before your board under an approval under these certain conditions, it does lead to that question of whether or not the agreement would be fully enforceable if your board then would take back its approval if those conditions are not met. Alternatively, one possible alternative, and I think Director Jones alluded to this, is your board can consider approving the agreement with direction to staff, but at that point, the agreement would be fully approved. And then as part of your board's direction to staff, implement or incorporate establish those conditions. And if those conditions are not met, then your board can direct staff to come back to your board to cancel or terminate the agreement. But by then, the agreement would have been approved at that point. That's one possible option for your board. And I think Director Jones alluded to that as far as an approval of the agreement as is, and then direction of staff to do the consultation to satisfy these conditions. And as part of that direction of staff, if those conditions are not met, then come back to the board for possible termination or revocation of the agreement. The thing to be factored in there is whether or not the terms of the agreement would allow that under partnership health plans, the other parties' guidelines for revocation and termination.
It'll be a learning experience.
Supervisor Crandall.
Yes, I'd like to see if, in discussing this, if any of if you could reopen public input just to get an
Yes.
insight from the leaders if possible.
So having in mind what came up with this other concern, I'll reopen public comment, and I'd be happy to hear from you folks on any concerns about that other avenue.
Yeah, thank you. Kyle Bill, Executive Director, Conocotina and Wilson. I don't want to speak for any of the tribes, just from our standpoint. Definitely understand wanting to deliver those benefits as soon as possible because there are needs immediately. I would, just my initial thoughts would be doing an amendment to the contract with those inclusions of having the tribal consultation, whatever that language might be that Director Jones suggested within that time frame. So just, I would, in my mind, approving the contract with the note that we're going to do a contract amendment with those inclusions so that both you can get that program up and going now, but that we can work together to create that language so that it is meaningful, that we're all in agreement on how that might look, gives us a little bit of time. But I do agree with County Council that, if there is mechanisms in place to say we need to pause everything because it is, so I mean, I wouldn't ever advocate to cancel on a contract, but there is mechanisms from my perspective that you all can kind of consider. Those would just be my suggestions because I do realize that there are immediate needs as well, and we don't want to delay that either. But we do want to make sure that there is specific language that takes time to incorporate into that. So I would just recommend perhaps a contract amendment at a later time to incorporate those things. So.
Okay. Anything further?
Katie Ray, Indigenous Futures Foundation Executive Director. I would agree with Kyle. We do not want to keep anyone else from receiving services as soon as possible. Because Lake County Behavioral Health is not yet contracted with partnership, that is going to take some time. And we do not want to delay that in any way. And after contracting, there's onboarding. So this is not going to be an immediate fix, and we do not want to delay anyone getting services. So I am agreeing as well.
Thank you. Anything further in the room? Anything online? No hands. We'll bring it back to the board. And Director Jones, did you want to weigh in on anything further on that?
It sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. County Council, did you want to make a statement or?
Yeah, did the motion that I provided work, or should I add some other verbiage to it, considering what we've discussed?
I think as a matter of procedure, that if I may, Mr.
Yes, please.
Thank you. As a matter of procedure, it could be done in one of two ways. One way would be to approve the contract, approve the agreement, and in conjunction with that, direct staff to do the consultation and pursue an amendment to the contract after a meet and confer with the pertinent entities, representatives. That would include Partnership Healthcare because they're the other signatory to this contract, and the proposal there would be to pursue an amendment and then come back to the board X amount of days with an update. Under that scenario, there would be an approved contract by your board, but then as part of your board's direction to staff, pursue an amendment. What's left out there would be in the second scenario, because in the second scenario, all of that would be in place, but in light of the proposed motion language, your board can also consider adding, as part of your direction, that if there is no agreed upon amendment by the parties, then to add a condition to pursue the termination or cancellation of the contract, which again, staff would have to double check with Partnership Healthcare on whether or not that can still take place. I think both of those are pretty consistent with what your board has discussed here, as well as what's been said at public comment. And that would be up to your board on which way you want to go. That seems to be the cleanest way possible, but essentially approval of the contract with direction of staff to do A, B, and C, or whatever those items are, as conditions.
Okay.
And if your board is prepared, I could propose
Yeah.
I had that one, but it doesn't exactly do what you.
Go ahead, County Council.
So I would do it in two motions. One is the approval of the contract, the other one, direction of staff, but that can be done by motion as well. So the first motion would be to approve the transitional rent provider agreement between Lake County Behavioral Health Services and Partnership Health Plan of California, effective January 1, 2026, and authorize the Behavioral Health Director to sign the agreement and any future non-substantive amendments necessary to implement the program.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Go ahead.
And the second motion would be to direct staff to consult with the tribes as it relates to this transitional rent provider agreement, to meet and confer, to pursue any amendments necessary, or any agreed upon amendments with both Partnership Health Plan, that's the other signatory of the contract, and the tribes, amendments to the transitional rent provider agreement consistent with what your board has raised as concerns here for tribal involvement as it relates to this agreement. That would be part of the direction here, to be presented to your board as a proposed amendment to this agreement. And I'm looking at Director Jones here, 30 days, 90 days.
Can we do 90? Is that agreeable to the board?
90 total for the consultation, or?
Yeah, for the whole, well, no, for consultation, 30.
30.
That's 30 days, we don't need that, that's not what's
Okay.
gonna, I hope, take the longest. I anticipate some back and forth with Partnership Health Plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do the 90.
So as part of that,
30 for consultation, 90 for,
Right.
like I proposed. Okay.
Yeah.
that would be part of the direction,
Okay.
motion.
So moved.
So we have a motion on the floor.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the comments today on this item. Appreciate it. And next, we're going to move into, well, first, let me check in with my colleagues here. What I'm thinking, we have one more open item, and then we have closed. Shouldn't take a long time. I'm thinking we push through and then just be done.
Yeah,
That's right.
And not take a lunch.
same page.
Is that okay with everyone?
I'm fine.
Okay, so then that's what we'll do. So we'll start with our last open session item, which is Supervisor Weekly Calendar Travel and Reports. And who wants to start?
I can.
Supervisor Crandall.
So tomorrow I'll go to the Hitch Leadership Meeting, which I think is in Middletown. Thursday is the TIPO meeting that I have. There is an ad hoc PG&E meeting, but I think I have to do something else. I think I'm tentatively scheduling a meeting with the Supervisor Sabatier and possibly County Council on something. And then I know I have a afternoon meeting in regards to what we were talking about, or what many folks came for this morning to discuss and talk about the mobile home parks and the rent stabilization. So I know I have a meeting with the group, that committee we put together before, so we'll be meeting Friday on that. Monday, I have the CAO meeting, and I'll be back here for the Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday.
Thank you. Supervisor On, are you ready?
Really close. Let me try to go to, okay, I actually have some doctor's appointments this week coming up tomorrow, the next day. I have a couple of meetings on Thursday also, so I'm hoping I can make those. I have a Redwood Regional, Lake County Recreation, and RTA, and on Friday, Redbud, and on Saturday, I have a service that I spoke about earlier today, and then I'm going to the Chad Bianco dinner fundraiser in Lower Lake. He'll be here. He's running for governor, so he'll be here on Saturday. So, and then next week I'll be back here.
Thank you. My first item, I have a disclosure to make. On February 10th, 2026, at the regular Board of Supervisors meeting, I presented and voted in favor of a request for that ranch to use the county seal on a plaque celebrating America's 250th birthday. At the time of my preparing the item and ultimately discussing and voting in favor of the request, I had overlooked the fact that in 2025, I had accepted gifts from the owner of that ranch. The gifts were under the amount of the California reporting limit, and I had in fact reported them on my FPPC filing for 2025. Because the gifts were under the reporting limit, there was no legal reason or conflict that would have prevented me from voting on this item. However, I want to be transparent and make this disclosure. Thank you. Tonight, there's a Lakeport Fire Board special meeting. Last week, I attended APC and LTA, Lake Transit Authority meetings. I did attend 2 meetings regarding Coloma, the Coloma Hydrogen Company, related to their landowner outreach. One was internal, the other was where they had meetings to answer questions for landowners that were available. I had a meeting with the Lakeport mayor. I toured the new Disney's boat rentals project out on Lakeshore, had a mental health advisory board meeting, participated in the $100 Strong fundraiser event. That the winning entity for that was Tango Mike. I attended Public Works and Public Services ad hoc follow-up meeting. I had a meeting with the Clear Lake Grange, who's interested in becoming a resiliency hub. I had a Scotts Valley Advisory Council meeting. I met with the mayor of Clear Lake. I attended Lakeport Police Promotions and the City Council meeting last Tuesday. Also, a group that I attend is a collaboration meeting between the city and the Lakeport Unified School District. I went to Supervisor Crandall's Worth meeting last week. I did attend the department head meeting as directed by the board last week with the CAO, and commented at that meeting. I attended my first library board meeting last week, and had some follow-up meetings with the tax collector regarding constituent questions related to the unsecured property tax collections that are currently going on. I attended the Coal Creek Advisory meeting, the class and compensation meeting, and also with Supervisor Crandall, I attended last Friday, the sheriff's new hires and promotion meetings. I do have plan to attend the Hitch Summit in Middletown, as well as Hitch Citizen Science volunteer training later this week. And that concludes my report. And therefore concludes all the reports for the supervisors. So now I'm going to move on to, and just confirm, I believe that's all of our open session. I'm going to read off our closed session items that we're going to go into closed on. 8.1, conference with labor negotiator. That is conference with labor negotiator A, chief negotiator Susan Parker, county negotiators Jay Salone, Stephen Carter, Casey Moreno, Pam Samick, Diana Rico, and B, employee organization, Deputy County Council Association. 8.2, conference with legal counsel, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2 E1, 3 potential cases. 8.3, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D1, Lachak and others versus County of Lake and others. And those are the items on closed session. Is there any, do I take public comment on just whether, okay, so those are the items. There won't be any public comment, and we will go into closed session. Thank you.